London is now regarded as one of the leading food capitals of the world and has seen a massive influx of brilliant chefs in recent years.
The reason why, a lot of international overseas chefs are coming to Britain is because, one, they like the freedom to do anything they want to. There is money here as well to be made, and there are people investing in food businesses.
In 2013, over 180 top-end restaurants opened in London, involving investments worth hundreds of millions of pounds. Newly established restaurants set fresh trends to satisfy the needs of the demanding clientele.
People today, they're often time poor. They don't have much time, and they need to know that a restaurant is open to look after them. So they want to be able to access a restaurant or a place where they can eat at any time of the day. So more and more you're finding restaurants are now opening all day to accommodate for that kind of need.
The way we're eating has changed, so away from the traditional three-course meal into sort of grazing and small plates of tapas or cicchetti of the Italian style. Even now we sort of go with British tapas as well. All-day dining now, especially on the weekends, we've really understood what brunch is. And it's that sort of anything from 11 o'clock through till 5 or 6 in the evening. You'll find families or friends meeting up all day and looking for different venues to spend most of their day. The trick is to be as flexible as possible. So whether it's understanding that families are coming and children, so for example in our restaurants children eat free during certain times of the day to encourage people to feel that you can come and bring your children here and it's not a staid and oppressive environment. It's very open, very friendly, and then with the style of the restaurants, be it the music or the look or the feel, taking away things like tablecloths, which are very expensive, and that cost gets passed on to the customer, because people don't really care anymore. They're more interested in things being a bit more relaxed. They're spending their money because they want to enjoy themselves.
Mark Hicks has his chicken and steak philosophy. Frenchman Bruno Loubet, who's travelled the world, favours vegetables. And Fergus Henderson is all about nose-to-tail eating.
And Asia uses a lot of vegetables. They don't necessarily not a lot of meat going on there. We find with using a lot of different types of vegetables, grains and pulses, you get a lot more texture. There's a lot better flavour, As in the old days, people with big chunks of meat, you have a big, usual bit of meat and you get a little garnish, Can be very boring. We focus on mainly vegetables. So meat, fish, gets focused on the last thing in our menu.
Fergus's philosophy is that if you go in to slaughter a beast to be eaten, then the right thing to do is to eat as much of that beast as is possible. So, and not just for the sake of it, but the fact that there is sort of flavours and textures that are delicious and interesting that lie beyond the fillet or the loin or the rack or the shank. With the pig, you can quite literally put nothing in the bin. We might use the head to make brawn. We roast the roasting cuts. We can turn the legs into ham. We crisp up the pig skin. We crisp up the pig's cheeks. We roll the spleen, for example, with bacon and do that as a starter. And we put a big emphasis on the trotters, which have an unctuousness and a quality that you can add to many meat dishes that give it a certain depth and richness that only the pig's trotter can achieve, really.
Trend-setting restaurateurs have helped to establish food hotspots, including Borough Market, Marylebone, Shoreditch, Spitalfields, King's Cross and Clerkenwell across London.
Those places are actually like food destinations in their own right. And again, you have a real mix of food businesses. They're from bakeries to restaurants and pubs. And these food hotspots are also often dictated to a certain extent by the people that live there as well.
In a neighbourhood such as Clerkenwell that's sort of quite vibrant and becoming more and more of a food hotspot, it felt like that there was a demand for people to want to take home nice produce, and it was a way of communicating with our locals that could have our food to take home as well as to have it with us. Things that you see on the menu will be available in the shop. We try and stay open a bit later so that people coming in for dinner might be able to come in and buy a few things.
And all of them want to know where the products came from. Provenance is the key word for all trendy delis and restaurants, no matter what food they sell, be it a bakery or a butchery.
People want to know where their meat comes from. from the farm to the plate. There's got to be a line of traceability. As a family, we've been trading on Smithfield since 1868. That equates to 5 generations and 146 years.
Of the 7,000 pubs in London, some are twice that old, even though they've been proven to have an enduring appeal to the British public as well as foreign visitors. They need to keep enriching the food they offer.
Although we're basically proper British, even English food, we take the odd day trip to the continent, and we like to mix the ideas of different cuisines to produce more interesting food. There's been a pub here, or a pub and inn, for the past certainly 200 years, probably rather more. We're besides the River Fleet there, so that's why this pub is called the Coach and Horses, because this is where you'd stop in your coach before crossing the river to go into the City of London.
If you don't offer food, you won't survive. And the whole pub food offer really changed back in 1991 when the first gastro pub was opened in Clerkenwell. It was called the Eagle. And what basically happened there was a bunch of cooks came together and they said, well, we want to provide restaurant quality food, but in a pub environment. And that's gone on from strength to strength. And a few years ago, we had our first Michelin star pub in Fulham.
The growing number of restaurants has encouraged some owners to use new marketing methods to serve their food on the streets.
The whole street food scene has developed in the past 3 or 4 years. People who are trying to find a name for themselves, if they can't sort of afford to set up a pub or work in a pub or in a restaurant, they've got an alternative now to actually go and ply their trade on the streets at very little costs. But also you have got other well-established chefs like Mark Hicks. He goes out regularly in a little street van to sell his food as well.
Street vendors make the food experience not only more exciting, but also even more affordable. In the fusion of different cuisines from Italian, Spanish, Thai, Mexican and German to Polish, all spiced up with a pinch of extravagance and creativity, they reflect London's character and diversity.